Hey everybody, I wanted to bring you an alternative to showering or rinsing off in the Vanlife using a pressurized spray bottle. This right here is called a portable shower, and this concept is definitely not new. 30 years ago on a sailboat, I had a bug sprayer. I painted it black and had hot pressurized water at the end of the day. But nowadays they've kind of refined it a little bit. They have a sprayer nozzle at the end, rinse nozzle more so that you find on a sink, which is definitely save a little bit of water in time, a little more efficient. But what I was wanting to do was insulate this so that therefore when you put hot water in there in the van, it's not sitting out in the sun, it would retain that heat a lot longer. But so I tried to use some foam and stick it in a bucket, and this was really a fiasco. So if you guys try it, like it'll bubble up on top and get real hard, but it won't get a good seal. I think somehow maybe being confined in the space or adhering to the plastic sides, it just never really set. I even punched some holes in here where you can see to try to get some air in there and let that foam expand out. But there was some massive gaps in there, and you'll see I used 3 or 4 different types of cans, and it seemed like it would foam up and then the foam would basically just disintegrate. It was kind of really wild. You can see the gaps in there afterwards once you punch through. The parts that were exposed to the air up top sealed off great, but you know, it would foam up and then it just wouldn't. It was really crazy. So I kept spraying more and more and doing this method over until I finally just had to cut it out, and I got a different bucket later on. And you'll see that I cut out and finally got it semi to work. But I know they have those hanging baskets like the solar showers and stuff that you can set up in a tree in the bags, and they work great also. Just something to think about. Everybody has their different little methods, but this is just an experiment I was messing around with because the one I had, I just carried around a bug sprayer for rinsing off after surfing or whatnot. And yeah, that one finally, after I guess 4 years, started leaking. So you do have to watch out for that. But here you'll see where I actually took it off and it made a thin layer around the plastic. And then I'll start peeling it off a little bit and you'll see these massive gaps, which was just crazy in it. But anyhow, the second bucket worked pretty good. But the solar showers aren't too bad, you know, if you're kind of static and you put some water in there and let them up top. Another way is just to boil, you know, some water and add it to some water that's in there to shower off with. Something to rinse maybe a little bit of your feet. So there's all different types of concepts, and I should have probably done a little bit more research before I started this individual project. Or now that I've done it, maybe come up with a different means of insulation, like neoprene or some other type besides the foam. I don't know if foam's really the way to go, or the spray foam anyhow. You know, maybe some matte foam wrapped around would help. It's kind of like maybe packing foam or something, that real thin and multiple layer type deal, and then maybe sleeve it. There would be different options if this was something that you were after, is tried to keep that heat inside for any extended period of time. But after trying this over and over again with a different bucket, I was able to actually retain heat up to 19 hours where I just used tap water from where I was at doing this experiment. I put some tap water in there, stuck it in the van, and it got down to about 40. But the 19 hours later, after the lows in the night and in the van, I was able to get up a little bit over warm temperature. I'm not sure what it was, but it definitely was still warm, which was kind of cool. But this was a really interesting experiment. As you can see here, I'm just peeling it away, and this was about maybe 3 or 4 cans of foam. Here's the new bucket. And I was able to get a little bit better seal with this one, where I did the bottom, let it sit. And if you want to do this, that's what I'll recommend. Like, just do a layer and let it totally set up, expose it to air, then cap it off, do another little bitty layer, let it harden up, and just work your way up. Just don't do it all at once. By no means, if you're even into something like this, but I would probably go another route. I would not do this again, even though it did ended up working. And then there's some other ones that are out there also, and that's where I should have done a little bit more digging because they do make some other sprayers, some with 12-volt heater inserts in there. I think it's called the rinse kit. I'll show you a picture here at the very end of that one, but reviews on that one said it takes like 90 minutes driving to heat it up. But here's where I'm testing it after 19 hours, and it was definitely still warm, which was cool in the colder weather. And of course, for leaks, I always keep it in like a wet tub just in case. You know, all this type of stuff kind of leaks, so, you know, just don't think that it's not going to. If you're going to do this, I would definitely have some type of basket to set it in, just for the spill and leaks and whatnot. It's good to have something like that in your van to put, you know, maybe your snowshoes or whatever type of moisture stuff that could drip down. But here's some alternatives that I found after doing this experiment, which is pretty interesting. So there's options out there if you're looking into doing this. And thanks for watching. I hope this helped out, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Bloop.